Good evening. Thanks for joining us at 6 o'clock. Ryan Borgwardt, the man accused of faking his own death and then fleeing to Europe last year, pleading no contest this afternoon in Green Lake County to one count of obstructing an officer.
The 45-year-old father of three also sentenced to 89 days in jail. That is the amount of time that he obstructed law enforcement. Borgwardt was first reported missing last August, that case garnering national attention, sparking an international manhunt after investigators started to uncover signs that he may have, that is, faked his own death. He later told investigators the details behind his elaborate plan to stage that death, stashing an e-bike near the boat launch, overturning the kayak, and dumping his phone into the lake. From there, he rode the e-bike, that is, to Madison before boarding a bus to Detroit. That took him to the Canadian border. He fled the country of Georgia in Eastern Europe to be with a woman that he met online. Samantha Cavalli is live outside the courthouse in Green Lake County with details on today's proceedings. Sam.
Right, Cammie. Not only did he have time to plan that elaborate plan that you had just mentioned there, he also had time to plan the new life he was going to be living with the woman all the way across the world in the country of Georgia. And he, even professing his love for her, took out nearly a $350,000 insurance policy and also reversed his vasectomy operation that he had in order to be with her. Now, Borgwardt walking into the courtroom this morning, he's sitting down next to his attorney, and he was just worried about the sentencing, seemingly nervous, worried about the sentencing that would be handed down by the judge. Now, for 121 days, Borgwardt was off U.S. soil before willingly coming home in December to face the consequences of his actions. The district attorney telling the court that Borgwardt's, quote, selfish and self-centered plan failed because of the dedication by law enforcement to find him. She says the destruction that he caused to his family can never be undone. Borgwardt, addressing the court this afternoon, apologizing to his family.
I deeply regret the actions that I did that night and all the pain that I caused my family and friends.
Any criminal charge, conviction, and sentence that this court today hands down will not be able to come close to undoing the incredible damage that this defendant, by his premeditated selfish actions, has done not only to his family, but our community.
Excuse us all. Neither Ryan nor I have a comment at this time. We'd appreciate some space. Thank you.
Ryan, is there anything you would like to say? Those 89 days, actually, the amount of services and equipment that were used to help and find Ryan Borgwardt totaled over $51,000. Borgwardt was ordered and has already paid $30,000, and that was part of the plea agreement that he made with the attorney in the state, and that will be split between the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office and the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Borgwardt is expected and has to report to jail within the next 60 days. Reporting in Green Lake, Samantha Cavalli, Action 2 News.